Cameras were rolling alive aback. Cynthia Erivo began a count a fan letter. Her articulation bankrupt at the third branch, and she abandoned the cards on the board and absolved off stage. Jimmy Fallon and 300 admirers associates watched in shock. The Tonight appearance starring Jimmy Fallon. Studios 6A at Rockefeller Center. Wednesday night. Edition celebrity interview. Edition annular of amateur and laughs. Edition adventure in the endless accent of backward night television. Cynthia Erivo was the guest. The Tony and Grammy-winning extra and singer, assertive performer, one of the best accomplished artists of her generation. She'd appeared to advance her latest project, and the account had been activity perfectly. Jimmy and Cynthia had abundant chemistry. The admirers was loving it. Aggregate was absolutely as it should be until the articulation ambassador handed Jimmy a dejected agenda during the commercial break. Fan mail segment, the producer said quickly. We got a letter accurately addressed to Cynthia. Absolutely beautiful. Anticipation it would be a nice moment. Jimmy glanced at the card. It was accepted procedure. Occasionally they'd apprehend fan belletrist on air. Abnormally if they were particularly affecting or funny. Sounds good, Jimmy said, tucking the agenda into his stack. They came aback from commercial. Jimmy settled into his chair, Cynthia sitting across from him in the bedfellow seat, smiling, relaxed. So Cynthia, Jimmy began, his accent alive hardly from comedic to sincere. We got a letter. A fan wrote to the appearance accurately for you, and I anticipation maybe you'd appetite to apprehend it. Cynthia's face lit up. Oh, I love account fan letters. Jimmy handed her the dejected card. The camera zoomed in hardly as Cynthia adapted her position. Dear Cynthia, she began to read. Her articulation was warm, professional. Dear Cynthia, my name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm writing this letter from a Baird's affliction in Cleveland, Ohio. I accept date for pancreatic cancer, and my doctors have told me I accept about 3 weeks Larbird to live. Cynthia's smile faltered slightly, but she kept reading. I'm 32 years old. I accept a 6-year-old babe alleged Emma who loves to sing. The flat had gone absolutely quiet. This wasn't the usual fan letter. Jimmy's announcement afflicted from casual absorption to anxious attention. Cynthia continued, her articulation alpha to waver slightly. 3 years ago, I took Emma to see you in The Color Purple on Broadway. Cynthia's easily started to tremble. After the show, Emma absently she capital to be a singer. She capital to be like you. Jimmy chock-full mid-gesture. The complete flat froze. Cynthia's articulation cracked. I'm here. I'm here. A breach rolled bottomward Cynthia's cheek. She would sing it to me like it was a prayer. Cynthia, I'm not activity to be actuality abundant longer, but Emma will be. Cynthia chock-full reading. She stood up abruptly. The dejected agenda fell from her easily assimilate Jimmy's desk. The flat was in complete silence. The appearance or something complete breaking through. Cynthia took 2 accomplish against date left, against the wings, against privacy, toward anywhere but beneath these lights with these cameras and this impossible letter. Jimmy stood up immediately, his dejected agenda broadcast beyond his desk. His comedic persona, the one he wore so calmly every night, vanished completely. Cynthia, he alleged out, his articulation affable but urgent. Wait please. She chock-full but didn't about face around. Her amateur were shaking. The admirers could see her errant even from behind. Jimmy looked at his administrator in the ascendancy booth, afresh at the audience, afresh at Quest Adulation and the Roots, who had chock-full arena completely. Everyone was watching this moment unfold. This blow amid ball and adverse reality. Cut to commercial, Jimmy said agilely to the date manager. We're alive to tape, the date manager aside back. We can't aloof. I don't care, Jimmy interrupted, his articulation firm. Accord us a minute, please. The date administrator nodded and signaled to the ascendancy booth. The on-air light clicked off. They were no longer broadcasting. Technically, the cameras kept rolling, but they'd cut the feed momentarily. Jimmy absolved beyond the date to area. Cynthia stood with her aback to everyone. He didn't rush. He didn't perform. He aloof absolved like a animal actuality, a budding addition human actuality in pain. Hey, he said cautiously when he accomplished her. I'm so sorry. I didn't apperceive the letter was activity to be. I mean, they told me it was a fan letter, but I had no idea. It's not your fault, Cynthia managed, still not axis around, wiping at her face with both hands. It's aloof that little girl. She's 6 years old, Jimmy. She's activity to lose her mother, and she's been singing my song to her like it can save her. I know, Jimmy said quietly. I know. Abaft them, the admirers sat in complete silence. Some were crying. Most were artlessly watching, a dress attestant to article they'd never accepted to see on a backward night ball show. Jimmy acclaim affected Cynthia's shoulder. Can you accomplishment it? The letter? Cynthia shook her head. I don't anticipate I can. Okay, a fresh I'll accomplishment it. Is that okay? She angry to attending at him, mascara streaked, tears still falling. You do that? Of course. They absolved back to the desk together. The cameras were still rolling. The feed was still off, but anybody in that flat accepted they were witnessing article real. Jimmy best up the blue agenda from area it had collapsed on his desk. Cynthia sat aback bottomward in the guest chair, tissues in her hands, aggravating to compose herself. Folks, Jimmy said, acclamation the flat admirers directly. I'm activity to accomplishment account this letter. And I charge you all to apperceive that what you're seeing appropriate now, this is real. This isn't a bit. This isn't allotment of the show. This is aloof activity accident in advanced of us. He looked bottomward at the card and connected reading. Cynthia chock-full account and said, I'm autograph this letter because I accept one request. Jimmy's own articulation was starting to crack now. If there's any possibility, could you almanac article for her too? Aloof a few words. Aloof abundant to let her apperceive that the song she's been singing agency something. Cynthia put her easily over her face and sobbed. The admirers started errant with her. Jimmy's eyes were glistening. And afterwards a pause, he looked up and said, We're activity to do article appropriate now. Me. We're calling her. And your activity to acquaint her that yes, you record article for Emma. Your activity to acquaint her that her babe has a mother who admired her abundant to address this letter. And your activity to let Sarah apperceive that she's not alone, that we see her, that she matters. Jimmy's articulation was firm. Cynthia's voice bankrupt again. I don't apperceive what to say to her. You'll know, Jimmy said simply. Aback you apprehend her voice you'll know. The ambassador came assimilate date with a phone. The flat was still in that abeyant state, offer technically but cameras rolling, admirers present, anybody captivation their breath. Jimmy took the buzz and dialed the cardinal from the letter. He put it on apostle and set it on his desk. It rang twice. A fresh anemic articulation answered. Hello. Hi. Is this Sarah Mitchell? Jimmy asked, his articulation gentle. Yes, who is this? Sarah, my name is Jimmy Fallon. I'm calling from the Tonight Show. I'm actuality with Cynthia. We aloof apprehend your letter on air. There was a continued pause. A fresh Sarah's voice, almost a whisper. Oh my God, you apprehend it. We did, Jimmy said. And Cynthia wants to talk to you. He slid the buzz towards Cynthia, who stared at it for a moment afore aptitude forward. Sarah? Cynthia's articulation was blubbery with emotion. Cynthia? Sarah articulate like she couldn't accept what was happening. I can't. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm on a lot of medication. I don't apperceive if I'm dreaming. You're not dreaming, Cynthia said, animated through her tears. I'm here. I'm absolutely here. And I appetite you to apperceive that yes, I will almanac article for Emma. I will tell her aggregate you appetite her to know, about actuality strong, about actuality here, about accepting a mother who admired her so abundant she wrote to a drifter asking for help. Sarah started errant on the added end of the line, weak, exhausted, but abounding of relief. Thank you, she talks about you every day. She wants to be aloof like you. I appetite her to know, Sarah said. That I tried, that I stayed as continued as I could. She'll know, Cynthia replied firmly. I affiance you she'll know. The flat admirers was above board crying now. Jimmy had tears alive bottomward his face. The Roots had tears. The cameraman had tears. Everybody in that architecture was crying. Then Cynthia said, Sarah, I appetite Emma to hear article appropriate now. Can you put me on speaker? Is Emma there? She's in the allowance with me. She's comatose in the armchair beside my bed. Wake her up, Cynthia said gently. Please. They heard rustling. Emma, honey, death watch up. Addition wants to allocution to you. A baby asleep voice. Mommy? Emma, Cynthia said softly. My name is Cynthia. Your mommy told me you like to sing. You're the adult from the show? Yes, sweetheart. I heard you've been singing my song to your mommy. I sing it every day, so she'll stay. Cynthia's articulation cracked, but she continued. Emma, I appetite you to accumulate singing every distinct day. Because that song is about actuality brave. And your mommy is the bravest person I've any time heard of. Then Cynthia began to sing appropriate there on Jimmy's desk. I'm here. I'm here. The flat was absolutely still. When she finished, Emma whispered, That was beautiful. You're beautiful, Cynthia whispered back. Both of you. Sarah Mitchell died 11 canicule later. But before she did, Cynthia recorded a 20-minute video for Emma. Jimmy never aired the call. He kept it private. And every year after, Cynthia calls Emma.